Hello, everyone. That's right. We're going to be talking about another lovely week of earnings, the week of February 22nd, 2021. Talk about the earnings that I'm most anticipating. I have 3 focus stocks for you today. As usual, leave in the comments if there's one you want me to look at in specific. I'll be looking at pretty much the ones that strike my fancy, but if you need anything, obviously you can always email me in the description if you're curious about my opinion on something or whatever that might be. So go ahead and we'll rock it out now. We're gonna start Monday. It's a loaded week, starting Monday with Royal Caribbean Cruises. You start with one that's always a very interesting one that's seen a lot of recovery in terms of stock price, yet we're still seeing the main core business see revenue declines of over 30%. Now, this is one that likely you will not see a positive impact on this revenue line for another 6 months, and I think that's something that needs to be noted when you're talking about this stock, because obviously one that was known for a very good dividend likely won't be the case for a while until we see recovery, as well as obviously this is entirely based off of the fact that the company's not allowed to perform business for the most part. So once they're allowed to continue their business operations, we'll see some recovery. But again, early estimates obviously probably aren't until summer that they won't be able to that they'll be able to continue that again. So keep that in mind with Royal Caribbean Cruises. The stock may take a hit as a result if we see any sort of downturn. So just to keep that in mind. We then have Moneygram. Dish Network is interesting. Cable networks, they're not necessarily the most lucrative field right now, just because of the fact that a lot of people are switching to streaming, and streaming's it's frankly taking over to where traditional cable, it's kind of getting the boot. So traditional cable, not one I typically would suggest investing in anymore. Then KBR. Speaking of streaming, there's Discovery. I say that specifically because it's an interesting, network as its own, Discovery. But they recently just announced Discovery Plus, which is obviously their own unique streaming service because every single company in the nation has their own streaming service. To where eventually you'll end up paying more than you did with cable, so that's pretty cool. But we'll see what that looks like. They're probably going to talk about it. Obviously, they haven't had in this quarter they're going to release. They won't have any data regarding that, but we'll see what the demand looks like for that. I don't think it's going to be that significant, personally, but could just be me. We then have the person where you leave a kernel of corn underneath your pillow, and you get a quarter for it. The Corn Fairy, Dorman, Cooper Tires, nothing crazy with them. I think there is I don't think it'll be this quarter, but obviously we've seen a recent bout of horrible winter weather throughout the entire country. So I do think these tire companies see a benefit in the following quarter as people are prepared. Obviously, you don't think about the fact that you need tires until you get into the winter months and you start sliding everywhere and you realize your tread depth not quite what you want it to be. So I think the fact that the whole country saw a big bout of snow likely will mean all these tire companies might see a little bit of benefit, but not this quarter they're reporting, probably the next one. DZS. Then after close, we start with Oxy. Big commerce, way better than the little commerce. Marathon Oil. Oil's not the segment I typically get into, obviously because it fluctuates quite heavily, and with tensions, obviously, in the Middle East, you see these oils, I mean, it goes crazy. Oil prices go crazy. Obviously, it's a commodity, but then these companies alone, we'll see what happens. There's Nautilus, Palo Alto, really good company there. Very solid Silicon Valley company. What can I say? One OK is how I'm going to pronounce that, just because I don't know the name of the company. Sorry. Something Mortgage Capital. Can't lie to you. Can't read that one. Mortgage Capital. We'll see which company that is. Zoom Info. Diamondback Energy and Transocean. Tuesday, we're starting some bangers on here, okay? First, we have Home Depot, one that I actually think still sees some pretty good numbers. You've seen a whole year of good numbers out of Home Depot. Now, the story, again, is going to be guidance, because it's interesting to see not only through pandemic, but through stimulus checks. There was a lot of demand. They saw a lot more demand, average ticket price increasing. Transactions decreased, but ticket price managed to stay on the increase by a significant margin, and that's where they've been able to boost revenue. Now, Walmart last week decided that they were going to say, well, they gave accurate guidance that said they were going to probably decline on the year, which makes plenty of sense, because last year there was unprecedented demand. I'm curious what Home Depot does, because I think that will result in the stock price going up or down. Whether they say they're going to guide for a down year, which I think they will, because they grew sales quite significantly last year, but we'll see if that home improvement demand continues. That was, yeah, if you get it, you get it. If you know, you know. Macy's, just a few steps away from bankruptcy. Come on now. Macy's is, you hate to see it, because as a company most of us grew up with, we were used to shopping at Macy's. We know about it, the Macy's Day Parade. Guess what? Not going to be a thing for too much longer. Sorry, Macy's. One of the traditional brick and mortar retailers that's just not sticking around here within the coming years, so got to consider that. Then we have Crocs. I can't believe this is a standalone company. Crocs. People do be wearing a lot of Crocs though, and I don't get it. Who wears Crocs? Not me. I don't know. I don't know who's wearing these Crocs. I would never imagine. But if you are, I hope you put them in sport mode, because it's the only acceptable mode, okay? Yeah, that's my opinion on it. Then we have Medtronic. Decent company. Always post good numbers, obviously. Mr. Cooper Group. Don't know what that's supposed to mean. Is that LSL Homes? LSI Homes? Not sure. That's a new symbol I haven't seen before. We then have Scotia Bank. Obviously, financials been doing pretty decently. Let's see if Canadian banks can do the same. We'll see. We have Leidos, BMO, and Nexstar. After close, we do have one of my focus stocks in Square. Obviously, Square is there for many reasons. Well, there's some wild stuff going on with this company. Expected EPS of 24 cents compared to 23 cents of a year ago, which obviously isn't too crazy. But what's a little wild is this revenue estimate, right? You'd think it's got to be a typo. It's got to be. But I don't believe it is. They're expected at $3.1 billion revenue, which is an increase of 398% compared to the $620 million they did a year ago. Now, this is going to be the biggest quarter in the history of this company, no doubt. But is it going to be that significant? $3.1 billion, 400% increase? I don't know about that. To see a full year increase of 314% would be incredible. If they're able to do that, that'd be wild. We'll take a look at this stock and see what it looks like, but that's crazy, crazy stuff. Then we have Upwork. Intuit, it's tax season, so Intuit probably sees some good numbers here, no shocker. Probably better than last year, because last year they extended the tax deadline, so we'll see what that looks like. Halozyme, Esperion Therapeutics, don't typically mess with therapeutic companies. Toll Brothers, we did see overall house prices saw an increase and new home sales increase as well. So let's see what Toll Brothers looks like on this aspect. Should be a decent quarter for them, all things considered. Centennial, Hylian, Avangrid, and Matson. Then we look Wednesday before open. We have Jumia, Overstock.com, which is I've had bad experiences with Overstock.com personally, but I think it's still going to reap the benefit of the e-commerce craze, no doubt. Lowe's, expect similar numbers to Home Depot. They've been doing it all year, posting beats, and really good sales numbers. So what Home Depot does, I'm going to guess Lowe's probably mimics that. Horizon, we have Bosch, Health, TJX, Six Flags, another one just like Royal Caribbean Cruises, completely smashed by last year and going to continue to be smashed. They're operating at minimum capacity. We'll see what that looks like again. I don't expect too much out of them, that's for sure, personally. Then we have Neogenomics, okay, and Iron Mountain, my favorite, baby. You know I love Iron Mountain. This traditional company that is obviously meant for storing documents as well as destroying documents, paper-based, now for forming a data center aspect of it, storing digitally. Iron Mountain, I just love it. Beautiful dividend on this thing. Love the company. Then Ionis. After close, we have another. That's right. Focus stock in Nvidia. Of course it is, because Nvidia's gone bonkers. Stock's up massively over the last year. EPS estimate of $2.80 is against a year ago estimate of, or a year ago EPS of $1.89. That's a significant increase there in terms of an EPS line. The company's really growing that profitability line quite significantly. Revenue estimate, though, it's yet again another quarter in which they expect a 50% increase, 55% increase planned, $4.8 billion expected versus 3.1 of the year prior. Crazy stuff if they're able to pull that off, and I think they will. This gaming segment's just taking off right now, and obviously not the only segment of the company, but they obviously have the autonomous driving segment. This company's got, it's pretty well diverse for a chip company. They're going to be doing really good numbers this quarter. Then Teledoc, Magnite, my favorite Pokemon, Magnite for sure. SO303, what the heck is that? 3D Systems. It's 3D Systems, of course, because that's a little 3D block. Redfin, heard interesting things about Redfin, but not, too familiar myself. Billy, as usual. L Brands, clothing, doing L Brands has been one that's been hit pretty hard, but seen some significant recovery these clothing brands have. There's Viacom, CBS. Again, we get into this cable business and see what that looks like. I don't know. Innovative industrial properties as well. Then Thursday before open, we see Moderna. Obviously, main story is going to be in terms of vaccines for them, Moderna. We're going to talk about their vaccine, what the distribution looks like, and what that revenue line looks like. Should be a significant boost in terms of revenue if you're talking about how the government's bought so many doses. We'll see what that looks like. Plug Power. Obviously, an old holding of mine. Focused on hydrogen power. Really significant because the new administration obviously hyper-focused on the elimination of fossil fuels. So these alternatives are going to be pushed forward at a significant rate, just as we saw e-commerce pushed at a significant rate last year. We're going to see over the next 4 years these alternative fuel sources completely taking off. We then have Domino's Pizza. Overall fast food hasn't seen significant changes. We've seen less transactions overall, revenue declining slightly, so probably expect the same there. Cliffs, Best Buy, not a huge fan of Best Buy, but I feel like the logo changes every single day. Wayfair, expect freaking significant numbers out of Wayfair. They do it every quarter nowadays. This is one of the biggest beneficiaries of this e-commerce move. Is Wayfair. People are buying a lot of crap on Wayfair, especially because it's handmade, and you also apparently can buy human beings named as closets and chests and stuff, but let's forget about that scandal. I guess I don't know if that exists anymore. Norwegian Cruise Lines, same exact thing as Royal Caribbean, American Tower, and Camping World. After close, we have, that's right, the last one, Salesforce, in which we see an EPS estimate of 75 cents against a year ago, 66 cents. Pretty nice there. But what's kind of shocks me here is this EPS, or the revenue line here. Expected $5.68 billion, which is an increase of 17% year over year. I expect better than that. I do think they're going to beat in that aspect. Probably see close to a $5.8 billion number to $6 billion. That's the range I would personally give it. I think they'll be outperforming these estimates, no doubt. So be on the lookout for Salesforce there. And then we have Rocket Companies, Etsy. Even better numbers than Wayfair here. I mean, expect doubling the business year over year. Undoubtedly, probably higher than that. Etsy's going to be putting up some incredible numbers as people are obviously not only just handmade products, but people are just buying the heck out of stuff here. They're buying the heck out of it. Beyond Meat, again, we talk about partnerships. That's the main thing for them. Obviously, they're getting money mostly through not people directly buying the product, but through selling it through third-party companies to them, making partnerships. That's what I'm talking about. Partnerships are the key for Beyond Meat. But again, once people get into the industry, we'll see what that looks like. Then Vail, Virgin Galactic, it's always on here, but again, the company doesn't make any money. They don't make revenue because obviously they're not a commercial product at all right now. They're just a concept, so keep that in mind. Nikola, what a shocker, also just a concept. No vehicles for Nikola. I hate that they're on here because this stock is a joke. The whole company's a joke, really, and they've had investors fooled for quite a while. So need to go bankrupt. Let's be clear. First Solar, Workday, which a lot of companies are turning to as a human resources pretty much manager. It's pretty nice. Cost cutting for companies. Airbnb, probably see significant numbers out of Airbnb as this becomes more of a regular source of staying for people. This is how people are doing their vacations. It's Airbnb nowadays rather than hotels, so they can get cheaper, they can get better rooms, see houses instead of just hotel rooms. So Airbnb doing well. Friday before open, we have Draftkings. Honestly, expect some really good numbers out of Draftkings because sports betting has gone bonkers lately. It's been going crazy. Sports betting is out of control, and obviously a lot of people, more states have okayed sports betting. DraftKings, though, expect some good numbers here. Kronos, don't like talking about them too much. Nothing significant there. Foot Locker, Builders, First Source, EOG Resources, Amneal, AMC Networks, not the movie theater chain. Got to keep that in mind. Fine, Cinemark, Vistra, and Scripps. That's a made-up word. That's all I got for you today. Hope you really enjoyed.